karma and friends. I'm not so impressed, my love. I know what you're after. What's up? This is Cautious Clay. I wanted to thank you for joining my creator session. We're going to be playing some of my music on acoustic guitar and talking about a few different things. The writing process and using observation as an important element of that, as opposed to critique, as well as like surrounding yourself with the right people through your creative process, and also what it's like being an independent artist. So, cool. Looking for a borderline now. Well, maybe we've been losing touch, like a twisted thought. Don't be so foolish with me. No, you don't wanna be alone. Say. What I want falls shorter than perfect, but better than earnest. Do better next time when your life wasn't worth it. Don't wanna be nice, I just wanna be right. I don't wanna break bread. How much better would it be if we had to start fights? Doing anything and everything possible. If you start a fire, stop, drop and roll. I don't need your thoughts, I don't wanna know what you're offering. Don't need posturing, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no worries on God. But if you're taking my side, I don't wanna know why, I don't wanna know why. Arms open and wide, I'm entitled, I lied. If you're taking my side, I don't wanna know why, I don't wanna know why. Money is cheap, so I talk too much. Low-hanging fruit, so I pack a lunch. Every time that I press my luck, I know it's worth more than enough. Yeah. Doing anything and everything possible. If you start a fire, stop, drop and roll. I don't need your thoughts, I don't wanna know what you're offering. Don't need posturing, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no worries on God. But if you're taking my side, I don't wanna know why, I don't wanna know why. Arms open and wide, I'm entitled, I lied. If you're taking my side, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know why. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. The concept that I was working off of with the song Agreeable is that it feels almost like, as if like we can't really agree on anything, because so many things in my life or in other people's lives, I feel like it's just like difficult to find a place where issues can really be discussed, or like you know, whether it's your relationship or like in terms of like your identity. It feels like there's not even a common ground in which people can feel safe and feel vulnerable to talk about things. And so I think it was like, for me, really, really important to make a song that I felt like could speak to those feelings. To kind of break down some of the lyrics, it's like I was almost looking at it from a little bit of a sarcastic lens, in the context of like, wouldn't it be great if we had to start fights? Like, wouldn't it be great if we just had to like fight? And I feel like we are fighting, but I think like it's an impossible situation or an impossible scenario that we're currently in. And what I want falls shorter than perfect, but better than earnest is the first lyric. And that, to me, those two things are almost unattainable, or they're unachievable. So I'm sort of like writing it in a way where it feels like, okay, what does that mean? But then what it actually means is like, hey, this is something that we can't actually achieve, so we can't even begin to agree, or we can't even begin to discuss. What is it worth to like create a conversation? What is it worth to truly relate to someone's existence, or empathize with someone's existence? So that's really what the song is about.
What advice do you have to creators as far as writing this song to change cultural moments, to like have them really reflect on what's happening in culture today versus, writing music that appeals to people? Not saying that this doesn't, but it challenges them differently.
It definitely does. I would encourage people to have a really strong argument, and also not to tell people what to do, because I hate the last thing I want to do with my music is tell people how to live their life. I'm not invested in that. I'm not invested in preaching to people about how they should do things. I'm merely an observer. I'm merely an observer. I'm an observer that uses this music to just kind of look at things and be like, oh wow, isn't that interesting, or isn't that just sort of a thought? So I guess I'd encourage people to just like, if they're going to talk about things like that, it's important that you do it in a way that feels new and fresh. It doesn't feel like you're telling people what to do. Like, I feel like my favorite music is never about shaming people's existence. It's been about displaying things that you're feeling about situations. I think is really what I try to do, and not like preach to people about how they should do things. That's really what I'm saying. This is a song I wrote from my third EP before my album came out, called Something for Nothing. Something for nothing. Couldn't pay the interest. Away at the function. Needed good resistance. I'm thinking I'll dive in. Or maybe it might sit right back where we started. But I know how to make you fuss. You wanted to make you blush. You're blushing. You're soaking up all my trust. Whoa, knowing that we got lost. Growing devotion. Couldn't pay the interest. Could tell that you're rushing. Knowing time is endless. You're doing me honest. You're straight as a promise. Right back where we started. But I know how to make you fuss. You wanted to make you blush. You're blushing, soaking up all my trust. Yeah, knowing that we got lost. Break down enough, no patience. Break up enough, you baited on. Make haste to let you go along. Break down enough, no patience. Low light to what you waiting on. Make haste to this, I owe you one. But I know how to make you fuss. Yeah, just wanted to make you blush. Whoa, no, soaking up all my trust. Knowing that we got lost. Ooh, and knowing that we got, yeah. Knowing that we got lost. I feel like my entire musical experience, my musical journey has been just an exploration from the very get-go. I think I tend to be a person who, I'm not like an astrologer type person, but I'm an Aquarius. And so I guess in a lot of ways, I don't know, I very much lean into the elements of what the stereotype is of that particular identity. And I feel like I've always just been very into like exploring and trying new things, but like at sort of a distance at the same time. And so my musical journey brought me to learning the guitar a little bit here and there, but had before that sort of like being a flautist and saxophone player but I had a really huge barrier with this instrument because like because I'm left-handed, and so you're normally supposed to play this way, but I had my dominant hand this way, and so I had to teach myself a lot and figure it out as I went, and I very much consider that a huge part of like why, you know, like I write on this instrument, but at the same time there's a lot that I don't know about this instrument. So I think it was like a just great guiding principle for me in terms of like my writing process, because like I also write in a similar way where I just like, I love poetry and I love like lyrics and I love words. I'm really deep into words, but then I don't write with a like a narrative or a thesis in mind. I very much write in a sort of free form way, and then I make it all make sense. And this song is a great example of that, because I wanted to sort of like encapsulate the idea of something for nothing at the end of the day, because like so much of our lives are built on relationships and the people that are in our lives. And so I felt like almost like the smallest gesture, you know, whether it's like a kiss or a hug or like any type of like relationship like thing, it can make you smile, it can make you sad, but it's like it's so much. It's like you're giving something for nothing, you know. It's like it's such a huge amount, you know. It's like but I know how to make you blush, but I know how to make you, you know. That's like the lyric in the song, and so it's like kind of trying to harness the energy of like relationships in the context of a song, and like and how those things can like make you feel things, you know. That's like we all just want to feel things at the end of the day. That's why we pay money to go to the movies, why you pay money to have a nice house or whatever the hell you want. It's experiences, and so I wanted to observe that from the context of a relationship.
Did you set out to be a musician, like to do this as a career? Like, how did this fall? Like, how did this come to you? How did this happen for you?
It very much happened to me in a way where I felt as if it was a deep passion of mine, but I never pursued it in a very meaningful way. I mean, I'd always wanted to do it, but I think I never told myself that. The way that I behaved in the world demonstrated that I really wanted it, but I didn't go to music school. I didn't like learn how to read music that well. Like my mom wouldn't have even cared if I wanted to do it. I think I was just trying to I felt like so much internalized pressure to like be in society in this normal way, because I just didn't know anything else. Like neither of my parents were musicians. Like they were deep into music and things, but they didn't play any instruments or have any type of a real commitment to it, and didn't know the first thing about the music industry. So I majored in international affairs at like one of the best schools for international affairs in DC, and like, you know, got in and did my thing. I ended up getting a job that wasn't even in the field that I was trying to get involved in. I was working for this company, this real estate company, and like they had me working at the leasing office and then doing all types of admin, and their expectations were just like crazy, and I ended up getting fired from that job because I think I was there a year, and they were just like, look, like you haven't made any changes. And this whole time I was making music, producing music on the weekends and at night and whatever. the next job that I took in New York was even more salesy than the one that I did before. So like I was just like going around the city, handing out people's like these cookies and like trying to sell ad packages to like different management companies and like supers and stuff. I realized that like I couldn't sustain that type of lifestyle for very long. I had a very tough time there. And like I think also it did teach me some really like valuable lessons and skills, because like I realized that like, hey, like this just isn't for me, you know. And like I feel fortunate to at least have a situation, and all of the people watching this have a similar situation where it's like, hey, like you have a goal, you have at least have like sort of a direction that you're trying to go in, because I think there's a lot of people who struggle with that, and rightfully so. It's hard to like really find a passion, and even when you don't have one, it's like making one up for yourself, you know, because we all try to motivate. We're not always motivated to make music, you know. It's still but it can still be a passion, but you have to find the enthusiasm even when you're doing it, you know. And so it's good to continue that and creating worlds for yourself.
Can you recall or reflect on a moment where you're like, I'm going to be an artist and I can do it and I can make it and I can make a living doing work I love?
So I really made the decision because, well, really two reasons. I was continually getting either fired or like asked to leave from the jobs that I was doing. That was actually the second reason. The first reason was I just hated it. I hated it. And I had just released my second song, and I was sort of like buzzing a little bit, but like there was like a huge opportunity that came through with like JBL, which is a speaker company, and they just like, I mean, I was still working as a back waiter at this Caribbean restaurant called Gladys at the time, and it was literally right around now, but like 2017. So it was like the best Christmas gift ever. Basically, they licensed my second song for a huge JBL sync. At that point, I was like, what? Because I didn't even know that was a thing. And so like when that happened, I was like, okay, maybe I should take this very seriously, you know, because like I was taking it seriously the whole time, but I just didn't know that like there was that type of money that was circulating in the context of music and licensing and writing and all these different elements of it. So I think it always interested me, but like I just didn't, it was not a place that I had ever seen before prior to that experience.
If I was a mentee, what would you tell me to do in that moment, or where would you tell me to search to try to make that transition from creating work that you love to doing it for a living, like actually making money and being able to?
I would say listen to like what your instincts are about the music that you make, and also like lean into your strengths as well. Because I think a lot of times people will try, especially if they're trying to be an artist, it really depends also what you're trying to do. You got to ask yourself, really, like, are you trying to be a songwriter? Are you trying to be a producer? Or are you trying to be an artist? Because like you can obviously do all three, but I think the most important thing that I've learned is that it's important to pick a focus and stick with it and develop relationships in a way that's earnest and genuine, so that like people understand. If you could ask yourself, like, what is the thing that drives you in music? You have to be able to answer that question. And if you can't, then I would consider that as like step one, because like no matter how successful you are, like that's always going to be something that you have to recalibrate or reassess for yourself. And then I think beyond that, it's really just like developing like a style and a message that is consistent in whatever it is that you're choosing to do, and finding people that can trust in that. And especially because I think there's so many different musicians and artists and writers and that are in existence. I think it's just especially important that you find that path with people that, you know, you can genuinely trust and maybe are on that same page.
Creator Sessions is brought to you by ConvertKit, the creator marketing platform. And at ConvertKit, we believe that the future belongs to creators like you. That's why we invest in this series. By sharing the more intimate details of the creator journey, we inspire and encourage more creators to follow their passion, because creators shape culture and culture shapes the world. So, whatever your craft, our creator marketing platform can help you share it with the world. Click the link to learn more about how ConvertKit can help you earn a living online.
So this is a song off of my album Deadpan Love. It's called Karma and Friends. Whoa. Something about the way you call me when you know I'm doing the most. You know I'm about to sway through. Coming out the gate, dressed navy blue. Karma and friends, I'm not so impressed, my love. I know what you're after. Strawberry bends, you can't even expense, my love. I know what you're after. Like silver I could place you. Could really use a toast with eggs on the side. No option but to stay true. Someone's in poor taste, don't watch me, yeah. Karma and friends, I'm not so impressed, my love. I know what you're after. Strawberry bends, you can't even expense, my love. I know what you're after. The way that my skin piles high is an option to beat myself. I'm in cruise control like the flow, or sense of space and time. Looking for a borderline now. Or maybe we've been losing touch, like a twisted thumb. Don't be so foolish with me. No, you don't wanna be alone. Say. Yeah, essentially, I wrote this song in 2020 and had been sort of in a headspace where I was trying to like sort of think about the thesis of like, or like the idea behind why I was making an album and like what I wanted to say in this album. And Karma and Friends was actually the original title for the album, because I felt like it really just related to how I sort of saw my musical journey and my musical path in the context of this, what the song is essentially kind of getting at, in some ways, and the motivations behind why I make music. And essentially, Karma and Friends is, in a lot of ways, trying to illustrate how the people that you surround yourself with in your life oftentimes determine your karma, or they determine how you sort of end up interfacing with the world. Because in a lot of ways that, you know, humans obviously are social beings, we're social creatures, and I think it's just very important to like surround yourself with people who care about you, who genuinely want to see you doing well, who want to see the best version of yourself. And I don't think that that's really highlighted enough in people's journeys. I think suffering has always been sort of like romanticized in the context of like what it means to be an artist. And I think that that's certainly a part of humanity. Humanity is suffering, obviously. And I think that in the context of like my personal growth as an artist, I think it's just been really important for me to highlight, like, you know, obviously like I have down times, but I think that like it's also important to celebrate like the context of just like, okay, like let's talk about like how relationships and like the things that you do can just like sort of like bring out the best as well in some ways, or like bring out the worst. So it's really like in a way just looking at that concept for face value as opposed to just like the good and bad. It's just like this is something that I wanted to talk about and just consider in my own good and bad scenario as a human being.
Do you have a favorite song?
Do I have a favorite song that I've made?
Yeah.
I really like Dying in the Subtlety. I think that's a good one.
Why?
Because I think it's really a fun song to play. And I feel like it completely encapsulates the things that I like in music. Just like it has a really good drum beat. It's got a really nice chorus and the lyrics are really hitting.
I'm always surprised to hear it's not like the song that like Cold War. It's not like your biggest song.
No,
or like,
no, it's definitely not that. But it's not like in a bad way. Like I'm happy that people like it, but I just feel like it's just not, it wasn't the song that like I related to the most in some ways.
We had an artist yesterday who said, artists make art, people make hits.
That's a great thing. I mean, it's true. We don't get to decide how people gravitate towards certain songs, you know. Another example is like Wildfire. Like I kind of knew what I was doing because I was like, okay, people like my voice, and I didn't always think that people liked. I didn't start off as a singer, you know, in my musical journey. So I wanted to make a song where I was like, okay, like I feel like people like my voice, so I'm gonna just really lean into that as an element of my musical journey because I'm just like, yeah, I certainly try to toe the line between like doing things that I feel like I really, really enjoy and then also like things that I feel like my fans and people will enjoy, because like the very moment that like I become so self-absorbed to like make something that's completely for myself, like I feel like I sort of also, I don't know, I lose the human element. I use the human connection to what I do, you know? And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be commercial. It just means that I feel like it has to sort of be relatable in some way. And I think that's like my favorite part of music is this like the relatability, you know? Like I'm a huge Rahsaan Roland Kirk fan, and he was certainly like on the fringe of just like what a lot of people were doing in saxophone world and jazz world. But I thought what he does is amazing. Like I'm inspired by him in a whole way. And so I think like keeping that focus has always been important for me. I try to be very practical with my musical approach. So I don't know, not even just like, not like scientific or anything. Like I'm mostly a producer. And so like I can play guitar really well in a studio. Like I can get really interesting ideas down and play solos. Like I played guitar solo on Dying in the Subtlety. Like I play guitar, but I'm just so bad at it when it comes to like really always executing certain things at the perfect. I can get it if I've rehearsed it, but if I haven't rehearsed it or I haven't played it for a long time, it becomes a little difficult for me. I don't feel like you have to be a wizard to do things. You know, I have better ideas than a lot of virtuosos, but like I'm not going to be able to play what they play. And there's a lot of people who are way better at saxophone than me, who have better saxophone ideas. Like I don't think about music in that way. It's not a competition. It never has been. Like I'm sure there are a lot of people who are better than, you know, Nirvana. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all about what you say in the moment. This is going to be a song called Artifical Irrelevance. And it's a song that I wrote, I guess, sort of a self-affirming song off of the album.
Yes, I want the sun
but I only wanna rise on occasion. Yes, I'm feeling numb, knowing that the feelings I created. So maybe we should talk, really spend the time that we're wasting, like nails on a chalk. We're broken and disruptive, you don't see this ending. 'Cause I'm the one you can fight in, yeah. I've got no doubts or questions. I'm the one you can hold. I'm losing sleep over days left to chance, breaking bad on plans made in advance. I smile much more than I laugh. I'm working on myself, will it ever be enough in this life? I wanna be helpless, selfish, terrified, 'cause it's better than feeling alone. But I don't see this ending, 'cause I'm the one you can fight in, yeah. I've got no doubts or questions. I'm the one you can hold. The perfect time will never take place, watching, waiting, wanting space. I'm the one you can fight in, yeah. Mildly open and insecure, who's got the answers? I'm not so sure. You're the one I can fight in, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a song that I created in 2020, and yeah, it was something that I'd sort of been thinking about. Like, it's called Artificial Irrelevance, and it's obviously sort of a play on words with like artificial intelligence, but in some ways I feel like there's just so many different examples, especially now, of people doing things better than you, people being faster, stronger, smarter, whatever. And I think that it just really does a big disservice to how, as humans, we kind of like operate at our best and live in a very like holistic way. And so like I kind of was like just thinking about, again, kind of drawing back to the theme of just like friends and like and people that you love, or like relationships that you're in. It's like confiding in the people that you surround yourself with. And so like I guess like I was in a relationship, or I am in a relationship where I felt like, you know, I could confide in the person that I love, and just like, and they can confide in me, you know, whenever they're feeling insecure or down about things. So it's like, you know, you matter to a certain extent is really like the crux of the song, and the fact that it's like your irrelevance, or what your perceived relevance is artificial, and it's not real. It's like we all have these insecurities, we all have these things that we're going through.
How do you navigate creating art when you have all these expectations on you?
I try to, I mean, when I'm making music, I try to like find something in it that piques my interest, really, you know, because it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's kind of like, okay, like you make music for yourself, but you also make music for, in some cases, like sort of the audience that you're, I don't know, maybe you don't make it for the audience, but you can. I feel like it's important to like consider that. And like, and so I really think about it in that sort of binary sense, because there's just so many different types of things you could do. And so like that expansiveness, I think, becomes a little bit less overwhelming if you kind of look at it in the binary and just kind of consider that like, okay, I can make music for myself, or I can make music for other people. I'm probably going to find some middle ground, or like maybe it'll be a little bit over this way or a little bit over that way. But at the end of the day, it's like I have to be comfortable with it. And that's really how I kind of go about creating music.
How do you encourage people to keep fighting the creative fight?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I've sort of coined this phrase, but I certainly stand by it to a certain extent. It's like compartmentalize your creativity, you know, try your best to do that. I don't feel like being creative should be like, it's the only reason that like we have anything good in this world is because people are creative, you know? Things as simple as closets and doors and things, like people made those to make things easier. And we're obviously running out of those things because people want to buy it. But if you're creative, it's the best thing that you can have in this world, because people don't who are not creative want to be creative. So if you are creative, utilize that. It's a pretty like open-ended answer, but I'd say that that's a pretty strong rule to live by. Thank you so much. I'm Cautious Clay. Hope y'all enjoyed my Creator Sessions performance, and you can find me on anywhere that you log online.